Live to see it, friends, and welcome to The World Transformed. This program is your guide to an astounding future that lies ahead, one that will be here sooner than you think, and one that you have an important role to play in bringing about. So when does this amazing future begin? Well, today is the day. My name is Phil Bowermaster, and with me in the virtual studio is my co-blogger, co-futurist, and co-host, Stephen Gordon. Hello, Stephen.
Hey Phil, how are you?
Well, I'm super fantastic. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm great. I'm doing well. I hope you are also.
Yeah,
So
we've zipped right through another week. I'll tell you what made this week go by so fast, Stephen. It's that we've been doing scintillating topics all week long. You know, we started with
things that are just as you said on Wednesday, link bait. So
link. We've been doing the link bait. Yes,
uh,
we started with the weird energy. We went to the life extension and resurrection, and now tonight we're here to declare the death of the book. The book is dead. Long live the book. And we have two topics that really don't support that thesis very well at all. So
well, yeah.
if you want your money back, the show was free.
The title's great, Phil. So let's
Yeah, I
stick
thought
with
it
the
was
title.
I thought it was a good title, but actually it
Yeah.
does sort of speak to that because we're going to talk about the e-reader, a topic that we have discussed at some length in the past. What impact does the e-reader have on how well people read, how likely they are to read, and what they read? Our original debate about the e-reader was whether it would replace the printed book.
Yep.
I took a very Luddite position on that at the time. I have subsequently updated my position on that, and I think that we're rapidly moving to a day when really the print book becomes more of a novelty item than anything else, and that the e-reader is the accepted way of reading books. But let's talk about what that means then in terms of how well people read and what they're reading and how they read and some of those kinds of things. Some really interesting developments in that light. And the first one, I guess, doesn't have. I'm sorry. The first one actually has good things to say about people
Yeah.
using e-reader. Okay, let's start with that. So, people who use e-readers dive far deeper into books. Is the story here? Tell me about that.
Well, it's true that and I've seen this to be true in my own life, is that people that have an e-reader and fall in love with their e-readers, and they read all the time. Phil,
Right.
my wife is constantly reading, and she uses her iPad with a Kindle app on it. That's her e-reader.
Hmm.
Loves it and is reading probably right now. And instead of having a single shelf full of books somewhere in your home, people that develop that habit probably they're reading hundreds of books, and they're putting away books at the rate of two or three a week,
Right.
and so it's remarkable how people use that to just that you sprint through reading books. It seems like with the e-readers. So yeah, I've seen that to be the case myself. How about you?
Certainly, it's worked that way for me.
Yeah.
That between my Kindle, which I love, and my iPhone Kindle app, which I use when I don't have my Kindle handy or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
and the fact that I can also just on my computer bring up my Kindle environment and read books there, it's like you've always got your books with you all the time. They're always there, and I'm one of these people who generally has like two or three different books going. And
Yeah.
ebooks has made that much easier to do because you don't have to keep track of them. They're just always all there all the time.
Yeah.
Um, Absolutely, it works. It works for me in a huge way. It's the technology I've been waiting for my whole life.
Yeah.
Um, and what's
What
interesting
about
about this
note
article
taking?
is it talks about people who have been like latecomers to the reading world. Right.
Yeah.
They're talking about people who are just getting up to speed on reading, who I guess had literacy issues and are just now learning to read. And these people are loving it big time, right? Jumping into the world of reading with these books. Also, apparently, the source, the choice of materials available to them is better than what used to be made available to people in print form, which is kind of nice as well.
Well, nothing has to go out of print.
Right.
You know, Being out of print means that there's not a big enough demand for a particular book to do a print run where you're making thousands of them. You know, and if only one person in the world still has any interest in a print book, I mean, in a digital book, an ebook, that person can have it. Provided that it's there's a link to it somewhere. Maybe in the Kindle store or whatever. It doesn't require print runs, and so there are just all kinds of books that are maybe 50 years old that are forgotten. But maybe you know begin to have some interest in a particular author who's long gone, and you don't you know, and some of those books have been out of print for years. Well, you know, you can easily get them, and that's so the availability of books that way is huge. Having your books with you all the time. I love the note taking features that
Yep.
ebooks or e-readers allow. You know, you're sitting there. Oh, this is interesting. You highlight it. You can then enter your own note,
Right.
and then you can bring those highlights and notes up and bring them into a blog or you know, paper, whatever you happen to be writing. Those are huge. You can share them on Facebook if you want to, that kind of thing. It's those kind of capabilities are remarkable, and yeah, it's huge. Those are big pluses. But you know, that's not big enough pluses for some people. It's e-reading, you know, ebooks, e-reading. That's not apparently it's just not winning over all of the population.
Yeah, and
So
we're gonna talk about some of the downsides in just a minute. Before we go there, one thing I wanted to point out from the article I thought was really interesting is that the survey also found that 62% of e-readers say that the access to free digital books has led them to titles they otherwise wouldn't
oh
have
yeah,
picked up.
oh yeah,
There used to be this thing: if you had more time, you could go to the public library, you could browse, and you'd find books for free that were interesting to you. But you know what? There they you had to go there for one thing, and it had to be there. And
yeah,
this is kind of the same model, but you don't have to go anywhere, and everything is there now. I mean,
yeah.
either that you
And you
get for
hear
a
that
small
you
price or that you can just have, right?
yeah. You hear about, you know, some of the people that complain about e-readers is the loss of serendipity. Have you heard of that? It's
No, what's that mean?
okay. You know, it means that, you know, the joy of browsing through a huge bookstore and coming
Oh,
across some great thing that you never would have come across before, and that's you know, serendipitous. You know, I've got this book that I would never have found otherwise, and you know, we're giving up this great thing of bookstores and libraries and things like that in favor of e-readers. Now, I love bookstores. I love libraries. I really do. But I'm going to tell you, there is serendipity also, and
that
the
statistic speaks to it. 62% of
yeah,
readers say that it's led them to read books they wouldn't have otherwise read. The thing is, you start
yeah,
down a thread, and suddenly you're looking at books that you never even thought you might remotely be interested in. And
that's right.
the, I guess I guess it's serendipity that starts with a point of interest rather than a point of like a geographical location. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's I think the serendipity is there and it's pure. Okay, so let's go on. What are the other? What else are the buzzkills saying about e-readers? There's a what was this? It was a Scientific American article, or was it on Salon? I'm not sure. But for one
It's
thing,
salon. It's
a
salon.
very long article about what's wrong with e-readers, and I'm standing here trying to read it on my computer, going, "Okay, I'm starting to see their point. This is getting very tiresome trying to read this thing on my."
It's a loss of reading comprehension
Oh,
is
well,
what
see,
they're
there it is.
really.
I didn't understand a thing they were
Yeah, you
saying.
didn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says, do e-readers inhibit reading comprehension? And they, you know, they go into it pretty in depth and say that, you know, it does. And I got to tell you, you know, I don't see it. I feel that very little is lost, if anything, in my reading you know, on a Kindle. You know, whether it's, you know, Paperwhite, you know, the experience of the Paperwhite on a Kindle device, or you know, or a Nook or whatever, or if it's a screen. There is some, you know, I would say there might be a little bit of an issue with you know, with your eyes becoming tired with a glowing screen,
Hmm.
and there's also the tendency, I think, that can interfere with the sleeping patterns. I really believe that's true. You know, if you're if you're sitting up half the night reading your you know, your iPad, and it's glowing, I really think that can be a little bit of a problem.
Right.
But you know what? You put the iPad down and pick up your Paperwhite Kindle, and yeah, I think you've solved that problem. So you know, you know, I just I don't find that my comprehension has waned any at all. Now it's kind of funny with my kids. My oldest son, you would think, you know, I should be the fuddy duddy who, you know, like, paper's what I grew up with, and
Sure.
my God, that's what way it ought to be.
Yep.
I'm the one that loves the e-readers, and my son Timothy, my oldest, is, you know, he you know, he can't stand it. He wants to read a
Oh,
paper
really?
book. Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
And so, like you say, it's a it's for different people. They're going to have different preferences. I think that the experience of digital reading will grant much to the people who still want to read it on paper too, because I think that you're going to see a place like a Starbucks become a place where you can go and get any book on paper if you like. You print on demand. You can with certain print on demand systems print a entire book with a paperback cover. It
Right.
looks store bought, and you can have it in 5 minutes. And I could see them with a rack of here's the best sellers. They're already pre-printed. You don't have to wait on them. Oh, you want anything else that you can possibly think of? Yeah, we'll have it printed in 5 minutes. Have a cup of coffee and it'll be ready. That's I think that's one potential future that digital reading can bring to paper. And so, um,
And that addresses a lot of the issues that are brought up in this article. They
mhm,
talk about things like the fact that a book has a certain weight to it and a size, and it's this object, and people relate to that object that way. It talks about the fact that there's this tactile experience that goes along with the reading experience. I mean, this is all true. They talk about how babies like to pick things up and put them in their mouth. Or there's this really interesting story, maybe made up, about a little kid trying to move the icons around on an actual paper magazine because all she's ever worked on is an iPad, which is I think kind of cool, that a kid would try to do that.
this magazine is a broken iPad.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this thing.
Yeah.
Give me the good iPad. Um, um, but a couple of things about this article. For one thing, it seems to just pile these on. Okay, it piles on its case. None of what it cites makes a particularly strong case. I mean, there's some research to suggest blah blah blah, or it shows a slight, it shows a certain difference between. So this is, it's like you can grant them all of it and say, you know what? I bet there's a flip side article someone could write exhaustively about all the advantages to e-readers that we're not seeing here. And I get to the end of this article and I say, well, yeah, you know what? Riding horses was an awesome experience. I mean, you had closeness to the horse, and there was this other animal in your life that you really liked, and they were beautiful and they were charming, and probably people, it had a horse accident, you weren't as likely to die. I mean, there's this whole huge case you can make, but you know what? We don't ride horses anymore, and they are arguing against an inevitability here, I think.
We ride our cars to the stables.
Yeah, exactly, and then get on a horse for a while.
Yeah.
And that's where books are going to end up. Okay, it'll be a specialty product for people who kind of want to connect with something from another time. I mean, I think that's where regular books end up. Now, along the way, I think that the digital experience continues to get better and better, and continues to incorporate more and more of what's in the original print experience. But you know, I just feel like they're kind of fighting. They're fighting the future here, to use the old X-Files expression. This is
Um,
not a fight they're going to win.
I'm reminded of the scene in Star Trek Two, where Kirk is having his birthday, and what does Spock give him for his birthday, Phil?
Spock
It's,
gives him A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
and it's an antique
An antique book, yes,
because it's an actual paper book,
right.
and it was a very special gift because of that. I think that's I think we're going in that direction. Yep.
And then McCoy gives him like a pair of bifocals so he can read this.
Because he's allergic to retinox.
Yeah. Well,
He couldn't take the treatment, so he didn't need glasses. So, um, anyway, yeah, I think we've shown our geek cred
well,
there.
it's sad that you got to say it before I did. I was about to point it out, and now everybody thinks that
Yeah,
you're the
now
one
you
who
hate
knows
me.
all about Captain Kirk's Admiral at that point, Kirk's retinox allergy, and then I didn't realize it, so I feel kind of silly. But one of the nice things about that future, the future where that kind of book is an antique and it's not something that people would really have anymore, is that Kirk still loves the book.
Oh
He
yeah,
knows it as soon as he starts reading the first line of it. He's obviously familiar with it, and as he's reading it, you can see he's rereading it from
yeah,
probably having read it in his childhood. So it means that the books haven't gone anywhere. They still exist, and whatever form we're reading them in, people will still be reading Dickens and Faulkner and everybody else, Shakespeare, 100 years from now, whenever Star Trek is, 200 years from now, and beyond, because the word, the message is you can't stop the signal, to borrow a phrase from another important franchise. And books are going to be around, and I absolutely understand where they're coming from, these objections, because I've been on that page, but I think they got to let it go. I really do. What's our music, Stephen?
Our music tonight is She Fires Me Up by Tourist.
What a great title to end the week on. She Fires Me Up by Tourist. All right, well, thanks, Stephen. We've been trying to fire you all up all week long with our scintillating topics. We'll be back next week with some more standard, awesome, futuristic topics. We look forward to being with you all then, and until next time, live to see it.
I ain't seen it all, but I can tell you right now, she got a style you never dreamed before. She's got a crooked half smile and a hell of a figure. She'll look at you like she's pulling a trigger, but you only could have wished that it was you that she was gunning for. She knows that there's something about her, but it's more than that. I can't live without her, and I know she'll probably get me in trouble, but I need her fix. Give me a fix, 'cause there is no other, and I should know better by now. But there's nothing I can do, and one day she'll figure out that I don't have a clue, and I need her to know that there's nothing I can't see that's not to lie. Oh baby, well she fires me up, says she fires me up. She don't ever cut me down, no, she fires me up. Though I thought she had left me low, well now I got one taste, I don't ever wanna let her go. If you get the chance, she will set you free, but if you lose her love, you will be begging for captivity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She knows that there's something